Hey guys, it's late. Done a few videos today, and that's wrong. I wanna have a little bit of a chat with you. Kind of a food for thought session. Coffee is very important. This is not Guinness, this is coffee. I've had over the last 2 years several requests. Hey, what do you think about the Kemper? Can you do a Kemper thing? What are your thoughts on it? And I shied away from it because I've never really had one here. And so I always shared my brief thoughts on it, what I know, what my experience was. And I had a nice long conversation with someone from the industry today who made me look at it from a different point of view. And I want to just make this an open discussion and maybe share that point of view with you. So here's my experience. The Kemper came out and I thought, what a brilliant idea. How great is that? As many of us did. And the demos were mind-blowing. They were great. They sounded exactly like the original. Then there were many, many videos and I watched them, and on YouTube the before profiling and after profiling sounded identical. I was very impressed. And then I didn't have a chance to check it out at the Musikmesse in Frankfurt, and 2 students came and said, yeah, we were really not impressed. Okay, next year at Musikmesse, I went to the booth and they had this weird Fernandez guitar, which I wasn't impressed with, and these Bose headphones, okay, mid-priced Bose headphones. And it sounded like a good modeler, but it definitely didn't sound like what I'm used to hearing on a daily basis. So maybe I'm spoiled, but I'm hearing what the Kemper's supposed to give you. I have these, I have a few amps, and I have good amps. Soldano, Dietzel, La Boga, the Blackhearts, Fender, there's a Boogie that I'm hiding, a Carl Martin, more Carl Martin, Engel. I know what a good tube amp sounds like. And I know what it sounds like with a good cab, a good mic, in an ISO cab, running up here into my monitor speakers. So I'm not comparing a Kemper compared to what a real amp with a speaker sounds like in the room, because it's always going to be big and impressive. No, I'm comparing it to what I hear on a daily basis, which is studio speakers and a mic'd amp coming out of those. So it's not going to, blow you away. It's going to be a good mic'd sound. And compared to that, it sounded fizzly in the high end, and I could hear that it was a good digital representation of an amp, but it was a digital representation, and I wasn't impressed, and I was disappointed. A year later, in Frankfurt, they had their van, and I checked it out, same guitar, same speakers. Again, not impressed. And then I visited my friends at Thomann, and the purchasing guy was like, whoa, this is totally awesome. I love the Kemper. Forget about the profiles that are in there. You have to check it out with my profile. Everyone's like, my profile, my profile. Okay. He put me in front of the thing, and again, wasn't bad, but it wasn't the real deal. I was not impressed. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's the headphones. And he brought me 3 or 4 pairs of headphones, and with pair number 4, it started to be reasonable. It started to be better. So maybe I have to have it here. I have several friends, people I very much cherish and respect as guitar players, and they're using the Kemper. And I'm like, well, there must be something about it. But again, the 3 times that I've tried it, I was not impressed. And here, obviously, I have my own Kemper. I have all these here. I just go plug in the speaker cable and I go to my patch bay, bam, there's my microphone. I don't have to go anywhere. I can pick between 7 different cabs and all these. So obviously, my situation is where I don't need one, because I have the real deal. But in terms of sound quality, as I said, it didn't flash me the way that the video flashed me. Now, that said, that was my experience. I'm curious. Some guy that used to do some of the first profiles for Kemper, I met him 3 years ago, highly respect the man, was like, no, the Kemper is the real deal. I told him I was not impressed. And he said, yeah, you have to get it at home, try it there, but it's the real deal, it's awesome. I recently saw a picture of him playing a live gig with a Bogner Ecstasy, pedalboard, rack gear, no Kemper inside. And then I was thinking, if he really likes it so much, why is there a real tube amp on stage with him? Why go through the trouble if the Kemper is the real deal? I don't know what was going on there. I have no idea why, but I'm just saying that made me think. Then, of course, my good friend Crimson, not a fan of the Kemper, and he just told me, we were Skyping the other day, he just told me a story where they were playing in a band they were playing with had the Kemper. He had his Bogner Atma and a little fly rake pedalboard that he has. And the guy was like, oh my god, that sounds so awesome. He's like, yeah, because it's a real tube amp, dumbass. I don't think he said that. He's a very polite guy. But that's what I would have said. The guy playing the Kemper didn't even realize what a real sound is like. So maybe people are very impressed. Then again, Clemensbrück, has been my idol since I was this big. So seeing him on stage here, he plays in a cover band. He always used to play Mesa, has these huge rigs and has real good amps, and he's playing a Kemper. So there's gotta be something about it. But let's forget about the fact what it sounds like. Let's assume for the moment, which I've just told you that I think it doesn't, but let's assume for the moment it sounds exactly like the profiled amp and gives you exactly what that amp gives you. Excuse me. Here's the discussion. Is the Kemper profiling amp ruining innovation in amplifiers? Is it undermining the ingenuity and the research and development that some amplifier companies are putting in? Because frankly, Kemper, the guy is brilliant. He developed a brilliant product. It's a great concept, but he's not a guitar player and he doesn't invent sounds. He gave you, if you have one, and please excuse me if you have one, I'm not trying to criticize you. You might have never thought about this the way I'm approaching it now. Is he giving you the ability to steal someone else's intellectual property? A Line 6 pod, yes, it's trying to get you the sound of a rectifier and all this, but they're not calling it that, they're calling it tread plate, and it's of course never a rectifier. They're doing their own homage to it. Maybe a Helix sounds a lot better, but then again, a Helix is not a twin. A Helix is a Fender twin. A Helix is not a rectifier. It's not gonna be that thing. And they're probably not trying to say, they're saying this is all in one box and it's great for $1,500. It can help you when you're in a cover band, can do many things, but it's not gonna be a one-to-one recreation of a Friedman or whatever it is, or an Engel. Now, the Kemper claims to be exactly that. And Mr. Kemper himself never invented an amp. He invented a cloning tool. He invented a means for you to copy the sound of that someone else created. Now, I could go on and on and on about downloading songs illegally off the internet. And if you're a musician and you're doing it, then fuck you. If you're a musician and you get as angry as I get about this, then welcome to my channel. We know that downloading songs has illegally for not paying the musician has ruined the music industry. The music industry is in the crapper. Okay, I mean, bands are now taking $100, $130 in tickets for a live show because they're not getting paid for the album. So yeah, you might rip off the album for free, but then you idiots pay $100 to go and see AC/DC or Metallica or something, and they're like, okay, this is really sucky for people like me who produced albums in the studio, did studio projects with big people, but didn't play live. So I have no career anymore. So I'm very pissed off about this. I have 10 albums on Spotify, never seen a Spotify check. Okay, and the checks that, streaming services, excuse me. So we as musicians have to be very careful about people wanting intellectual property for free, because what we do is our intellectual property and we want to get freaking paid for it, okay? Buy it on iTunes, that's fine. We get our 70%, 60%, 50%, whatever. Getting it for free through streaming service and us getting 0.0002 cents per click is freaking an insult to our craft. Okay? Now imagine this. Imagine you develop an amp. Say I'm not telling you who I talk to. Let's just pick a company. Let's say Hewson, Kettner, Engel, Dietzel, Zur, any of these companies. Let's say they develop a new amp. This costs money. They have to build prototypes, figure out how to make it hum-free, how to get a new sound, a good sound, a sound that is solid, an amp that works live, all this. And you put in 40, 50,000 bucks in development. You have to pay your company, you have to pay your employees, the materials, all this. And you have a good amp, and now you're bringing it out. You're releasing it. And you can get it at Thomann, or Music Store, Music Product, or Sweetwater, Guitar Center. Any place where you can order it online. They have to have, that's at least in the EU, in the European Union, there is a law. They have to give you 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked, because it's bought online. That's the rule. Now, I just heard from my industry contact that their amp had been sold 10 times, and 8 of them came back. Now, 8 of them come back? I know the company. The amp was not as bad as 8 have to come back. So I'm seriously, how fucked up are you guys if you do this? You have a Kemper at home, you order an amp, steal its sound, and then send it back, giving the company who developed this amp, who sat there crafting it, trying to bring you a new product that you love, when you love it enough to actually buy it and steal it. And then you send it back and they get freaking shit for it. It's not right. How is this right? Do you actually think that's correct? And it's been happening left and right. It is happening. The amp sales have diminished. It's just not okay to do this. It's not okay to go and buy an amp, suggesting to the store and the manufacturer, oh, you have a good product, you have made a sale, stealing the sound, their intellectual property, which you are enabled by the Kemper to do so, typing in Soldano Hot Rod lead sound, actually probably giving it that name. And Soldano has never seen a dime, and you're playing their sound, which before was you were only capable if you actually had the Soldano. So Soldano was okay with you calling it, I have a Soldano sound. Now Soldano gets shit for it, and you're calling it a Soldano sound, because a Kemper enables you to do this. Do you think that's correct? Now, of course, if you have the Soldano, and you want to save it, and you want to go ahead and take your Kemper live in a, not quite Soldano version, and you want to have your Bogner Ecstasy and all this, and you want to have this live with you in the Kemper, that's a different issue. If you're cool with that, no one would bitch about that. But ordering an amp and buying it, and then returning it, not selling it on the used market, returning it to the store, getting your full money back, and having copied the sound, excuse me people, that's fucked up. If you're a musician, that is like you going in the frickin' studio. I'm sorry, I'm getting very angry about this, because I have this discussion with my students all the time, and I start yelling at them at some point because they're not fucking getting it. You have a band, so you buy your Kemper, or you buy your Soldano, you buy your gear, you buy your guitar. You spend years in paying for lessons and practicing, and a practice room, and then spending for the mixer and everything. And then you work your way up there, and you practice, and you write songs, and you're proud of it. Then you spend thousands in the studio to get your stuff produced. And then people have the fucking audacity to tell you, yeah, I'm not paying for that. Knockdown Industry, I love the band, produced the album, they've played a nice gig. A woman with 2 daughters, loved the show, had never seen the band before, loved the show, goes in and says, I love it, we love it. So they bought 3 t-shirts. T-shirt costs more than a CD. If you buy a t-shirt, the CD is $5. Okay? So they spent, $45 on t-shirts. And the band's like, okay, fine, $5 and you get the CD too. Which they didn't have. They didn't buy the CD. Because music is not worth shit anymore. Now, what the Kemper allows Kemper owners to do is exactly that. Letting amp manufacturers know that their products are not worth shit anymore. So, by people downloading music for free and stealing it, or streaming it through Spotify, making Spotify rich but not us, trust me, where's my check? The music industry has gone down the crapper. Artists do not have the money anymore to make albums. Therefore, they produce them on the cheap, which means also on the bad. It can mean that. The $100,000 or $200,000 budget for an album is done, not happening anymore. So music has been devalued. There isn't a lot of money spent in productions. Labels are signing no one anymore. So your guys, and I'm sorry if you're not that person, but the public's downloading music has degraded music, and the result is a lot of bad music out there. Now, the Kemper profiling is going to result in exactly that. Companies have to fire people. They have to let people, not fire people, that sounds bad. They have to let people go because they don't have enough sales. It's happening to all these companies I've mentioned. And what's the result? You're going to have a Kemper sitting there and no new fodder for it, no new profiles, because the companies can't generate amps because of the because of the Kemper. Okay? So, what's the benefit? I bought the two Marshall plugins for the Apollo and the Friedman plugin. But you know what? Friedman and Marshall, they're getting their cut. Now, if someone does these profiles, you can probably buy Kemper profiles on many different websites. I'm sure there's forums. If someone goes in, I don't know, takes the Dietzel Einstein, right there behind me, and profiles that, puts it on their website, does Dietzel get a cut? I mean, not sure if they wanted it. Not sure if that's something that would help them. But does this company offer Dietzel, whose amp they're selling in digital form, offer them a cut? I don't think so. What are they probably going to do? They switch the Z or the Z for an S, call it Diesel Einstein, bam, all right, fine, not a problem, everyone knows what it is anyway. Instead of a Mesa rectifier, it could be a Mesa rectifier, it could be a Meba rectifier, and all of a sudden everything's fine. No, everything's not fine. These companies spend a lot of time and money making products for us. And the Kemper has created an environment where, first of all, you think you have the real deal at home, and trust me, I'm sorry, but it's not the real deal. But that's not part of the discussion. The ethics discussion is it. Is it ethically right to do this to these amp manufacturers? Trust me, a Friedman amp right in front of you is going to be different than your Kemper. But even if you're cool with the Friedman profile on your Kemper, even if this for you is amp nirvana, is it right to buy it from to buy the profile online from a company that doesn't give Friedman royalties from that? No, it's not. The sound is Friedman's intellectual property, and when you're buying the amp, you're buying a license to play that sound. Let's put it this way. A profile where the company doesn't pay Kemper, Dietzel, Zur, Friedman, whoever, Engel, a royalty is selling an intellectual property that's not theirs. And you buying a Friedman, profiling it, sending it back, you're stealing. I know this is a hot issue, but even if you're cool with stealing, you're like, fuck them, I don't care, they make enough money. That's not for you to decide, guys. Seriously, it really isn't. Deciding that Metallica has enough money and you stealing their music because they have enough money, this is not for you to decide. Do I have enough money? Is it for you to decide? How much money have I made with my albums? Really? Can I survive doing my music? No, I cannot. I should, but I can't. Because it's been stolen from me. Is it right to clone these amps and not pay these companies? Even if you're saying, okay, I can live with it ethically, are you cool with these companies going under and not being able to develop more amps, getting you the next Invader from Engel, the next Powerball, the next SLO 100 from Soldano, getting you the next Badger, getting you the next Fender Twin, whatever it is? These companies know their shit when it comes to tube amps, and you want the product. It's clear. You either want the real deal or you want the profile. And you know what? Without them developing the new amps, you cannot get a profile. The profile is linked to them being able to work. They can only work if they sell stuff. If you're shipping it back after you cloned it, they cannot sell stuff. And it opened my eyes to have this conversation this morning with a guy from a major company that said we lost money on an amp because it came back all the time, and we know these people have Kempered it, they have profiled it. Now, what's the solution? The solution is there's a European law that says you have to be able to send it back. Now, someone like Thomann can't make a rule saying, well, we're going to check in their sales history, and if they have a Kemper, we're not going to sell them an amp. Thomann would never do that. What kind of an asshole move? What if the guy actually wants an amp? Well, we could say, what if Thomann goes ahead and says, well, if he has a Kemper, we're going to write him a nice email saying, look, if you really want the amp, cool, but you cannot actually return it because you have a Kemper. Can't do that. It's illegal. And again, Thomann, nice guys, they would never do that. So what's the solution? It's simply going to go on. I can appeal to your sense of ethics and simply saying, look, it's not right. It really isn't. Think about it. And if I ever wanted a Kemper to play around with and just, have the experience and see what it's like here, now I don't. Because Kemper is doing to amplifier companies, to the people we love, the people that love music. I mean, I met Dave Friedman, Peter Stapfer from Dietzel. I met all these guys, Martin from Victory Amps. I met all of these guys, and they're passionate about what they do. The guys at Joyo are passionate about what they do. So, I like them. I don't want their livelihood to be destroyed by this product. And what streaming and Napster and all these digital steel music crap places did to the music industry, the Kemper is doing to the amplifier industry. And if you are like me and you love real amps and you love the people that create them, I'm sorry, don't play a Kemper. It's the only way I can possibly describe it. I don't know if the same thing applies to the XFX. It's fucking awesome. But it's not profiling an amp. It can recreate things. It's their own software, but it's not actually going in and you cannot, as far as I understand, clone it. Maybe now you can. It's possible. I don't know. With the Helix, I know you can't. That is software that they create that sounds like, but it doesn't give you the feeling that you have the real deal. You know what? You don't have the real deal. If you want to play Dietzel Einstein, well, you can't get it anymore. Get a demo now. But if you want to play Soldano, you know what? The only way to actually get that is get a Soldano. It really is. It is. Let me put it this way. Where's the difference between, and we're going to film the video tomorrow, where's the difference between a Klon KTR, $400, a Rocket Archer, $200, and right now on sale at Thomann, a Moval Minotaur, $45. There is none. They sound 100% identical. Now, if you had all three, which one would you play? Well, obviously you would play the Klon KTR. Even though the others sound exactly the same, and I'm going to be very honest with you, they do. And we're going to have Sarah and Kiana look at this tomorrow. Which one would you play? Sarah and Kiana checked them all out, told me straight up in my face, they're identical. I'm like, which one would you play if you had all of them? Not if you had to buy it, if you had all of them. And they're like, well, the KTR, the clone. I'm like, why? Well, because it's the original. And that's the thing. If you're sitting in front of a Kemper, even if it sounds 100% exactly like the real deal, which it doesn't. I'm sorry. But are you gonna give it the same respect that your fingers, your brain, your posture, and your right hand, your pick position, your guitar, are you gonna give it the same respect and the same dedication and performance that you will give a real tube thing? Are you gonna work with it musically the same way that you're gonna work with a real tube amp? Can you completely forget that you're dealing with numbers? Super fast latency, okay, but that you're dealing with latency, that you're dealing with numbers and a sparkly little box in a case. It's difficult. It is difficult. I have played digital amps. I'm playing the Apollo. I like the Marshall emulations they have. Marshall's getting paid for that. I'm having fun with them. But when you're sitting in front of a real thing with real tubes, like, you know, the clones, the real thing, you give it something else. You give it more. It's truer. It's more rock and roll. It's more fucking Lemmy. Okay? And we shouldn't forget about that. We shouldn't forget about the real thing. We shouldn't let the real thing die. We shouldn't let musicians die, so please pay for music. We shouldn't let amp manufacturers die, so just get the real amp. Pick the one you like, get it. Get a multi-channel amp if you want. Get a Friedman one-channel Pink Taco, $1,600, just like as much as the Kemper. Yes, it can do one thing, but it does that one thing with all of its heart and soul. And that's what you should put into that. So I'm sorry I'm very emotional when it comes to this topic, but I met the people behind these products. And stealing from anyone is fucking simply not right. So I'm sorry, Mr. Kemper. I respect you for your invention, which is very cool. And you might not have intended for this to happen. Hiroshima and Nagasaki happened, and Einstein didn't, intend for it to happen. He had a good idea, and splitting the atom resulted in, the atom bomb. And the idea was good, but I'd like to know what he thinks about it. I'd like to know what his point of view is. I don't necessarily, maybe he's not like, oh, I'm fucking all these guys, and everyone's now playing a Kemper. Maybe he never predicted that the sales of real amps would go back because people are buying them, profiling them, and returning them. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. In either case, I don't want one. And sorry, but neither should you. Good night.